So, all right, great. So we're recording. This is our third week of the meditation class. I also do want to say that now I am storing the recordings on the cloud. So I believe that I emailed you instructions as to how to get there. If you have any problems getting to the recording, please let me know. Although if you are listening to this, you're not having problems getting the recording, but if you have trouble, please let me know. I do log on at 9 a.m. So I am here for my office hours between 9 and 9:30. If you do need to discuss any issues with me and that time is not convenient for you, please feel free to send me an email and I'm happy to set up a private Zoom. So if you don't feel on the spot, Takesha, can you tell me how you have been responding to the meditation practices that we have been working with so far?
So I'm still getting the hang of the stillness,
Yeah.
no distractions, no noise. Before I go into the meditation process, I have to mentally prepare myself. So clear my mind, free my mind of thoughts from yesterday, the day before, other classes. So what I do is I free my mind and then I just slowly go into that relaxed state.
That's great. And how do you free your mind? What technique do you use to free your mind?
So so I watched the YouTube video where it's like this calming music. So I'll play that and then I'll just let the thoughts just flow away.
Great, great. So you're already entering into the meditative state at that point. Um, yeah, many people find that soft music is really very helpful. I will be introducing sound and music into our meditations in this class, maybe next week, I'm not sure. But I try to start with silence because what often happens with people when they're initially beginning to meditate is that they just get a little too involved with the music. And so then there's that attachment to that, which is similar to an attachment to a thought that, you might be having. But I'm so happy that you're able to do the practices. That's great. Do you have any suggestions for anyone who's having trouble just, sitting down and working from your own?
You have to make sure that there's no distractions. So if you have to silence your phone for the next 30 minutes to an hour, go into a quiet place. Sometimes a dark place as well.
Yeah. Some people find it easier in a dark place, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know many people who meditate in the evening to settle their mind before they go to sleep, and then it makes it easier to just fall into that stillness. One of the most important things about meditating and many practices that we do throughout our life is to set your intention. And so I want to talk a little bit about that before we start, because we are experiencing a new moon. We all know that the moon gets full and then it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then there are a few days where the moon is absolutely invisible, and that we call the new moon. It's still there, of course. It's just the earth is between the sun and the moon, so we don't see that reflection. And then it starts to grow. So many cultures view this as a time to establish new beginnings, to set intentions for things to come into existence in their lives. The new moon, the darkest day was yesterday, but with similar to the full moon, there's always like a few days that are involved. So it's kind of a nice idea at some point, maybe before our practice, if you would like to go ahead and set an intention, for either what you want the meditation practice to be like or what you want to happen in your life. The last meditation that we'll be doing today is called Yoga Nidra. And that will be about 20 minutes of lying on the back, and it's a guided meditation. And I will instruct you to, if it feels good, to create what is called a sankalpa, an intention that you will be able to realize in the next 6 to 18 months in your life. So that intention can be something like something dealing with anxiety, something dealing with health practices, something dealing even with a job, or even with economics. So it really can be anything. At one point when I was practicing, I set my intention to have a safe car, and that sounds very materialistic, but this was before the pandemic, before everything moved on Zoom. And I was driving around the city to go to all these classes I had to teach. So having a reliable vehicle was crucial to my well-being and to my my teaching practices. So yeah, talk a little bit more about that. And I think the first week and maybe last week, I talked about the idea of kind of setting the sense of smell. You talked about having it dark, having it quiet, be comfortable. Those are things that deal with the sensual body. But sometimes if you'll burn a little incense or a scented candle, that can really help to calm the mind. So the incense that I'm going to burn, and I wish that you could smell it, is called Palo Santo, which comes from South American forests. And it is often burned in ritual. Oh, I've got a big breeze here. To try to, as a way of setting intention. So you set your intention, and that intention might be breathing deeply as we meditate, something like that. Or turning off your phone, not paying attention to the flash. And then as you breathe the fragrance of the incense or the candle, if that's what you are lighting, that can kind of keep bringing you back. The mind is so tricky. It wants to distract you. That drunken monkey, right?
Yeah.
It's going to always be there. And sadly, no matter how many years you meditate, it's going to be there. So I do want to talk a little bit about what meditation does to the brain in a physiological way, because it's nice to have those biological affirmations for these kinds of activities. Sometimes we think, oh, just sitting there for 15 minutes and watching my breath, what the heck good does that do? I've got to do the dishes, do my homework, pick up my kid, that sort of thing. So I want to show you a little slideshow. Before then, I want to go ahead and do a little bit of stretching, because we have to prepare the physical body. So let's go ahead and stand up, if you have a place to stand. And just go ahead and sway from side to side. Let your weight settle from one foot into the other foot. And be aware of gravity and that shifting of gravity. And then coming back to center, planting your 2 feet. Let's try to take our hands, intertwining the fingers in front of us. Bend your knees slightly. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. And when you exhale, just push your palms away, round your spine, look towards the navel. And then on the inhale, lifting the hands, looking up towards your hands, go into just a little bit of a back bend. Exhaling again, rounding your spine. Now keep your feet flat, look towards your navel. Inhaling, coming up into a back bend. Maybe the back bend's a little bigger this time. Once more, exhaling, rounding the spine. Now let's stay here and just shift the hips from right to left. Get a really nice stretch in the back. And then reaching all the way up, lower the arms. Now lift your shoulders towards your ears, roll them back, slide them down. And then sliding the shoulder blades down the back, drop your chin towards your chest, breathe into the back of the neck. the upper shoulders in the center of the back. Tick-tock your head from side to side to side. And then let's lead with the chin and do some slow head circles. One direction and the opposite direction. So what we're doing is trying to create a connection now between our physical body and our thinking mind. Let's do just a couple more little things. So I'm standing sideways just so you can see me. Have your knees soft. Inhale, reach up, maybe straighten your legs. And on the exhale, bend your knees and just round it down. Don't worry about touching the floor. Just round down until you can just hang a little bit. Stay there for a breath or two. Inhaling, reach the arms up and just reach to the sky, not necessarily reaching back at as tall as you can. And exhaling again, rounding. Reaching up. Now keep your arms up, look forward, inhale, get taller. And on the exhale, turn to one side and spread your hands in a little bit of a twist, looking at your back hand. There you go. And then inhaling, reaching up again, looking towards the center. Exhale to the opposite side. Look at your back hand. Feel your spine twisting. We'll do once more each side. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, twisting the first direction. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, twisting the other direction. And then coming back to center. Just go ahead and shake it out. Okay, so, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, and I have a little slideshow on meditation in the brain. Share the screen. Okay, here we go. How does meditation affect the brain? All right, so I've got this in PDF, but I'm going to go ahead and view it. Can I view it as, here, enter full screen. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so meditation really does alter the function and the plasticity, of the physical properties of the brain. There's really been extensive research, on this. I'm going to make this a little bit higher here. There we go, so we can have a full screen. And I'm going to get rid of our little thumbnails here. So the neural processes, the nerves that are distributed around the brain and their activities affect, of course, our attention, our focus, and our emotion. The brain circuits associated with attention and emotion are studied in trying to regard the pathophysiological conditions that underlie things like schizophrenia, extreme anxiety disorder, PTSD, and depression. So they have found through extensive study that even mindfulness can be very effective in combating depression and many other psychiatric disorders. It is found to decrease the depressive symptoms, the anxiety and the stress in college students, as well as increasing self-compassion when compared with yoga alone. So many of the studies that have been about meditation come from studying yoga practice. In this course, of course, we're not doing yoga. We'll do a little bit of stretching, but we will focus primarily on meditation. Let's see, can I get that? I guess I have to click here. Okay, so here's a picture of a cross section of your brain. Most of us are familiar with the idea of the hemispheres of the brain. The left brain functions and the right brain functions. The left brain is much more analytical and logical. Things like language, science, and math, those are centered in the activities with those are centered in the left hemisphere of your brain. The right brain kind of brings it all together. It's much more intuitive, reaching back into our memories, reaching back into our emotions. When we create, particularly with art and music, but also, science and math can be very creative. So I often have a little bit of an issue of this always being left brain, because many, to be able to be an inventor, to be able to make these amazing discoveries in medicine, really our right brain functions. So, yeah, we want to have a balanced brain. Let's take this down just a little bit. Here we go. There is a membrane between those hemispheres of the brain called the corpus callosum. And like all parts of the body, if we do not stimulate through massage, through, in this case, of breath practices, I'm going to teach you a breath practice that stimulates that corpus callosum. I think it's a little bit more clear here. It's a membrane right between here that allows these sides of the brain to talk to one another. We want to harmonize them so that we can have better focus, deeper thought, more creativity, mental health, enhanced memory, and clearer thinking. Meditation, and when I say meditation, I really am talking about just simply stopping, focusing on your breath and letting your thoughts drift, not necessarily trying to follow a very specific thought pattern, but allowing those thought patterns to meander. And when we start getting stuck in a thought pattern, then we will start to feel anxiety and stress and all those things meditation is supposed to combat. So if we can bring our attention back to the breath, back to the smell of the incense, back to the sound of the breeze, then we will find that things like our restless mind, things like our clenching of our jaw, our grinding of our teeth, those will start to dissipate. Now, sometimes people will start meditating and they'll meditate once and say, look, I just still had a really terrible night sleep. My rash is not cleared up, but it is a habitual practice. That habitual practice does not necessarily need to be an hour every day or even 30 minutes every day. When you all are meeting with me or watching these videos, then of course you will be meditating for longer periods of time. But if you can set aside even 15 minutes every day to just sit and watch your breath or think peaceful thoughts or just be comfortable, not problem solving, but just trying to be aware of what's happening in your body and your mind, that can be very, very helpful. Your brain will start to work better. Your blood pressure will go down. It's amazing, but your immune function will increase. Definitely you'll have lower anxiety levels. Now, I personally have been practicing meditation on and off since 1980, and I can tell you that the times that I am very regular in my practice, I do sleep better, I am less anxious, and this is so important, experiencing the feelings of being connected. In our culture right now, people are so lonely. We have been in this endless pandemic for so long. And for many of us, it has created immense feelings of isolation. Even if you are moving through the world, you still are moving through the world masked. You still are creating a sense of, almost fear and suspicion of the people that you see, because we don't want to infect them. We don't want to be infected. And so that is a kind of loneliness, even if you're not just sitting alone. But many people are alone. I used to be out all the time teaching these classes in public. Now, most of the time, it's me and my computer and the people who are on Zoom. When we feel isolated and lonely, the parietal lobe becomes overheated. So just sitting and watching your breath or listening to soft music or allowing your mind to just relax and float can cool down that parietal lobe. And so you can kind of exterminate that sense of loneliness, that sense of depression. When we break our leg or sprain our ankle, we all have had an injury, where part of our body kind of withers away a little bit because we have to wait for it to heal. Depression is like that, even though it is invisible. And the longer people stay depressed and do not address their depression, the hippocampus, this very important part of the brain, slowly wastes away. So meditation can help to juice up that hippocampus again. When we donate to charity, for instance, when we give someone a gift that we know that they like, the brain's pleasure center is going to just kind of light up. So even though someone feels like amazingly depressed, and with depression does come self-centeredness, if we can try to think in a little bit more magnanimous way, we can end up fighting that depression. Amazingly, meditation can help us because as we sit and meditate, we get those feelings of relaxation, those feelings of everything is okay. I'm okay. And when you are okay, then you will feel a little bit more connection to other people. It helps to calm down your amygdala, the fight or flight response. In a study, after 8 weeks of mindful meditation, the participants had dramatically increased the size of the amygdala. People now EQ is your emotional quotient. Many of us know about IQ, the intelligent quotient. In recent years, people have been talking about the emotional quotient, and that's even made its way into human resources departments of corporations. How do people handle their emotions? One thing that can be very helpful is to increase that sense of empathy, to increase that sense of self-motivation, self-acceptance. And this, of course, has to do with the prefrontal cortex. Okay. We want to develop our brain in the same way we develop our body. We start dropping things and we think, oh, I'm going to do some hand exercises. You get those little squeezy balls. We are having trouble with balance. And so we practice standing on one leg or another. We develop our core muscles. We can also develop these parts of our brain. And one of the ways to develop the brain is through meditation. Here's the effects of meditation on the brain structure, the cortical thickness mapping, and the diffusion tensor imaging. Sleep. How many of you suffer from insomnia? As students, I'm going to bet probably most of you have insomniac nights now and then. And many of the students, I would even venture to say most of the students at Northeastern are working jobs, they have families, so there's lots of responsibilities. The practice of meditation can actually help you to sleep better. That's why when we were, Takesha and I were talking about how the idea of calming down, can really help you to become a little bit more focused. If you will practice your meditation at night before you go to bed, your brain is already in that state of relaxation. So it works, believe me, whether or not you believe it or not. I had asked you to read the introduction to the Don Miguel Ruiz book, The Four Agreements. Now, Don Miguel Ruiz was born into a family of healers in Mexico. His mother was a curandera, and his grandfather was a shaman, a nagal. So Miguel, however, became a surgeon. So he became a medical doctor until he had a near death experience in a car accident. And then he went back to re examine some of the teachings of his Toltec background. And he has written several books. One of them is called The Four Agreements. Um, in The Four Agreements, he talks about the idea that we are existing in a collective dream, that the existence that we have, the rules that we follow, we think of as these kind of universal rules, but they are not necessarily universal. They are rules that we have decided to agree upon because of the way that we have been raised and the reaction of people to our breaking of those rules. This time in our culture is so exciting to me. It's very dramatic, but it's also very exciting because we're seeing how those tight rules are being opened up. We're learning, if we can find the space in our heart, that there is never just a right and a wrong. There's a really long continuum, of ways that we can look at the world. And if we can practice things like meditation, and we can connect more to our own intuition, to the way that we actually feel about the world. And it doesn't mean that we're going to go knocking down the walls of our particular culture, but it does mean that we can have a little bit more compassion for people who are different. And the most important, we have compassion for ourselves. And we can understand how maybe the particulars of a path at this particular time are not the best for us. I'm going to share it again because there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Oops, where did I go? Here we go. All right. So the four agreements, which you'll read about in the Domestication and the Dream of the Planet, are: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. Now, those sound very logical, but it's so easy to forget those. So I introduced this at this time in the meditation course, because those are a couple of thoughts, that you can go ahead and incorporate into your peaceful sitting practices. If you're finding as you meditate, for instance, with the first one, be impeccable with your word. If you're finding that you have thoughts that are about things that maybe you've said and haven't meant, and you start feeling, oh, I'm so guilty, I'm such a terrible person, understand that you've already been punished, for that by your self-abuse right now. So you can just resolve to try to think about what you really do want to say with your words, and just by setting that intention, even in your meditation, it can be done. Don't take anything personally. We are such little ouch cubes, when it comes to the way that people will react to us. However, everyone is an ouch cube, and everybody is reacting to their own personal stresses. I'm finding that this is a very important thing for me to think about now, because I encounter so many people, everybody. I'm just going to make a global statement. Everybody that I encounter in my professional and personal life is really being affected by stress and anxiety. So their interactions with me are going to be affected by that. If they seem really crabby, I have to step back and think, oh, something else is happening. Don't make assumptions. Every individual will create these dramas in their mind, and assume that they know some kind of a truth. You don't. You don't. So just go through life and try not to expect, specific results. And of course, always do your best. So, all right. Whoops, where's my stop share? Oh, where's my Zoom? There we go. Oh, I seem to have lost you. Here we go. I'm not sure what's happening. I lost my original Zoom, but I see you in the corner over there. Hopefully, my computer's doing some funny things to me today. Okay, let's go back to here. All right. I don't know where my share screen is. Well, I'm not going to work. Oh, here it is. Stop share. That's it. That's where I wanted. Sorry. So I'm sure you have that happen to you too. Everything, kind of moves around. All right. So I just wanted to check in with you, Takesha, and see if you have any comments or questions about any of that stuff.
I do like the four agreements. That stands out the most.
Okay, cool. Well, I think you'll enjoy reading about it then, and there's a couple of other chapters, that we're going to talk about. All right. Just want to make sure I stay on task here. Now, why am I not getting to? Here we go. Okay. So the 4 agreements, blah, 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 update. Oh, mindfulness. Okay. So you've probably heard that expression mindfulness. Mindfulness and meditation are linked. But mindfulness in particular really has more to do with just paying attention to the now. When we meditate, we are trying to enter into the meditation, doing the things that you had discussed, trying to make things comfortable, quiet, maybe a little bit darker. I recommended some incense. And that is being mindful. The meditation itself is more about letting go. So mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on, to be a little bit more objective about it. Mindfulness practicing, unlike meditation, can be done no matter what you're doing. You can drive in a mindful manner. You can sit and look out the bus, in a mindful manner. You can do your cooking mindfully. You can walk, you can stand, and you can move mindfully. Now, I did want to do a mindfulness exercise using some food. Do you have, Takesha, just like a raisin or a cookie or a piece of chocolate or something that you could easily grab?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go get my date. That's what I was going to use. And so those of you who are watching this, go ahead and pause it and find just some small piece of food, not a sandwich, it can be as small as a raisin, or a small cookie. So what I'd like to do is practice eating mindfully, okay? So take whatever it is you're going to eat and take a few moments to just look at it. Notice it. Now I have a date and I'm noticing the size of it. I'm noticing the wrinkles, the colors, and the texture, which is of course very different than a cracker, and a cookie. So first regarding it, and then I'm going to take just a little bite. When you take your bite, just hold it in your mouth. Don't even chew it. So just hold it in your mouth. And before you start to chew, just examine the texture. Let your tongue move around it. What is the taste? Anything you put in your mouth is going to start to dissolve. What does that do? Is the taste sour? Sweet? Does it feel dry? Does it feel moist? And then maybe just take a couple of chews. And as you chew something, it's going to release more flavor. And you'll feel the crunchiness or the juiciness as I'm feeling with my date. And try to chew it for a while, even though it's a little bite, before you swallow it. And notice how it feels as it's going down your throat. Notice if it gets stuck in your teeth, if you have to use your tongue. I'm going to take another bite and try to also do that very slowly. First, just biting it, holding it in your mouth for just a moment, moving it around. Is it dissolving? Is it coming apart? Slowly taking a couple of chews, noticing how that activity is changing your perception. And then eventually swallowing. So you can feel free to finish your cookie or whatever. So that is mindfulness. Usually we pick up food and we're like, oh, this is really good. Let me have another, you know. But if we can just take a moment to be mindful about what we're eating, and this is a trick, a lot of people, particularly now after the pandemic, you know, people are like really worried. They're doing so much unconscious eating. So next time you do that, I mean, you can do it with your, you know, flaming hot Doritos or whatever, you know, just take your time, you know, try to be mindful about it. Now we can be mindful about anything. So what I'd like to do for our first meditation is to do our whisper breathing that we did the first time. And remember, we touched our fingers, sa, na, ma, ta. So you can just even close your eyes because you can find your fingertips with your thumbs. Then inhale. Try to get your whisper to be so soft and your touch to be just barely there. Maybe go even slower. But then go ahead and relax. Lower your hands and allow yourself to review that sensation. The whispering sound, the feeling in your mouth. Now the feeling of the stillness in your mouth. The feeling of stillness in your hands. Then just open your eyes. So how does that feel to just do these simple actions like eating and breathing and touching in a mindful way?
It allows you to see how focused and concentrated on a particular thing you can be.
I know, exactly. So much of life, we are not mindful, we are more mindless, you know. So mindfulness has to do with filling your mind with the activity that you are engaged in. Now, we do have moments in our life where we have to do that. Any of us who have had children know that when you are putting that diaper on that baby, for instance, you better be mindful or they're going to, roll off of the changing pad. So those kinds of things. But after a while, after you've done 300 diapers in that week, you start just being okay, whatever. Same thing with things like driving or walking. I'd like to try a walking meditation, which we can walk in a very mindful way, focusing on our walking and our breathing. So I'm going to go ahead and take this full screen again. And so find a place in your space. It doesn't have to be very big. It can just be maybe about, 6 or 10 feet long. I'm going to use my yoga mat here as my walking space. I'm trying to step on my cat. And just kind of figure out where you're going to walk. We're just going to walk back and forth. So first, just stand. And again, as we did before, just shift your weight to the right and to the left. And then come and stand on both feet. Now look at one point about eye level, whether it's in this room or you're looking into the next room. Just select a place to focus and focus on your breathing here. Notice how it feels to be standing on 2 feet. Then gently shift your weight to 1 foot. Lift the opposite heel and gradually take the weight off of that foot. Let all the weight be on the first foot and gently step your raised foot forward, lowering the heel, and very gradually let the weight go into that foot. Lift your opposite heel. Turn on the first foot. Slowly, carefully place your heel in place. Letting the weight shift from the heel to the ball mass of the foot, to the toes. Gradually lifting the other heel, just letting your body move in a very natural way. And place the other heel. All of your attention be on shifting of weight, the gentle movement. You're experiencing walking in a very mindful way. When you reach your wall or your door, or in my case, my yoga mat, let's go backwards. So I'm going to shift my weight now back into my right foot, pressing now from my toes to my heel. All the way on one leg to the toes. Slowly. Your attention on the act of walking. If you run out of room, just simply walk the other direction. We'll continue this practice for just a few moments more in silence. Do this practice without judging. If you start to feel a little wobbly, just observe that. It's not bad, it's not good. Breathing, of course. Start to notice the sounds around you. Without analyzing or judging, just let those sounds be in your mind. Continuing to return your attention to the sensation. Now, wherever you're at, let your weight be even on both feet. And maybe even try to close your eyes. Sometimes, depending on your balance, it's difficult to close your eyes. So if that makes you feel unbalanced, just gently look towards the floor. That will help to relax your mind a little. Yeah. And notice your breathing. Okay. And then gently come back. Do you have any reaction to that?
I never realized how, when you focus, how relaxing and calming it can be just walking.
Just walking, right? Just walking. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again because I have a couple of links that, oh my goodness, this is getting complicated. Okay, here we go. So here on, this is our, week 3 module. There are links to practicing seated, walking, and moving and lying down meditations. So the walking one in particular, am I going to get there? Yeah. So this is from John Kabat-Zinn, who is an amazing meditation teacher. And there is actually a 10-minute little recording. So if you feel between now and next week, you're like, I'm going to try that walking again, just go ahead and click on that link and he will walk you through it. A walking meditation can be done, as you know, because we just did it, just in your living room or your home or your office. It also can be done if you're out in nature, and it's especially rich. So for instance, even if you're going to a picnic in the park or going to the beach, you can take just a few moments and just slowly focus on walking and allow yourself to really be involved in all of the nuance of that feeling. You can do it when you're going to get something from the cabinet. For instance, I need to adjust my curtain. So I can very mindfully walk over to the curtain. I was going to adjust it so the cat can't go out, but she did. So just taking a few moments to mindfully do something, cooking, washing dishes, all those mundane things that we hate to do. You know, if you can take a few moments and mindfully do them, you will, of course, go a little bit more slowly, but it will give your brain an opportunity to relax into the activity, and you'll find that you don't resent it as much. Resentment is a huge thing that makes it very difficult for us to get through the day. You know, we always feel like the jobs that we are doing just kind of take up too much time. You know, why do I have to do this? But again, if you do these tasks mindfully, you know, it can feel a lot better. So the next thing I'd like to do is to find a place to sit for a meditation. I want to teach you alternate nostril breathing. And then I would like to lead you through yoga nidra, which is deep yoga sleep. And that will be a guided meditation. It's best to do that lying down. If you have some space on the floor, you can also do it in a chair. So, and it has a particular setup. So when you are practicing yoga nidra, I'm going to just show you. We're going to first do our seated meditation, but just so that, you know, we don't break the spell, whatever. So what I usually do is, now I have a yoga mat, but you don't have to have a yoga mat. I take a cushion or a blanket underneath my head, and then have a cushion or a blanket underneath your legs. And this will help you to relax your hips and your shoulders. So right now, if you want to just find a couple of cushions, you know, that can be very helpful. Yeah, sometimes it takes rearranging the furniture a little bit, but okay. Let's see, I'm gonna unplug this baby. Take it a little bit closer here. Okay. So once you've got your space, go ahead and first just take a seat. Okay. Now, I, like to sit cross-legged. If this doesn't work, you can sit with your feet together or however you're comfortable. And if you need to do a little bit of moving around, feel free to do so. So before we begin our seated meditation, I'd like to teach you Nadi Shodhan, alternate nostril breathing. We will breathe in through the left nostril first, and then hold the breath, and then breathe out through the right nostril. Then breathe in through the right nostril, hold the breath, breathe out through the left nostril. That will be one round. What Nadi Shodhan does is stimulate the corpus callosum, that membrane between the left and right hemispheres of your brain. Breathing through the left nostril activates the right hemisphere, that creative, intuitive side. Breathing through the right nostril activates the left side of the brain, the more analytical, science, math-oriented. But as I said earlier, we want those sides of the brain to talk to each other. So this is a physical exercise that we can get to let those sides of the brain work in harmony. You will control the breath with your hands. So this is my right hand. Let's see, am I mirroring you? I think I am. So this is on the left. So hold up your right hand, Takesha. Okay, all right, so you can figure out that I am mirroring you, right? Okay, so there's a particular mudra that we like to use. It's not necessary, but if you make a peace sign with your hands, now take your peace fingers together, open up your hand, and put those two fingers at the base of the thumb. Good. So now we try to control the breath with the thumb and the ring finger. If this is too much, you're good at it, but those of you who are in Zoom land, if it's too hard for you to hold your hands this way, just use your index finger and your thumb. We'll do 4 counts and we'll do 3 rounds. So very gently take your thumb to your right nostril, not pushing it close, but just gently closing it. And we'll inhale for 4 through the left. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Now hold your nostrils very gently closed. Use your ring finger and hold the breath for 4, 2, 3, 4. Open the right nostril and exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale right. 2, 3, 4. Hold closed. 2, 3, 4. Exhale left. 2, 3, 4. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Hold closed. 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Inhale right. 2, 3, 4. Hold closed. 2, 3, 4. Exhale left. 2, 3, 4. Inhale left. 2, 3, 4. Hold closed. 2, 3, 4. Exhale right. 2, 3, 4. Inhale right. 2, 3, 4. Last hold. 2, 3, 4. Open left, last exhale. 2, 3, 4. Now just relax the hands, close the eyes, and focus on your breathing. Gently drop your chin to the chest and slowly blink the eyes open. Okay. Let's move to lie on our backs for a yoga nidra practice. So when you lie on your back, I have a blanket, but it's easy to use a cushion or a pillow, nothing too high. But when you lie, you want to have your head, but not your shoulders, on that blanket, and then place another blanket or a cushion underneath your legs. And just find a way to be comfortable here. So while you do that, I'm going to share my screen and put up a mandala. So I'll give you a couple of moments to just get comfortable. Arrange your cushions, arrange your body. And for those of you who are doing the Zoom, if you cannot lie on your back, go ahead and find a comfortable place to sit. But again, avoid crossing your legs, avoid crossing your fingers or your wrists. Try to have the front of the body open and the spine long. Go ahead and shift your weight to the right or to the left. If you can adjust your body 10% to make yourself a little bit more comfortable, please do so. Now let your body sink into the floor. Shift and move to let your body settle deeper. Be comforted that at this time, everything is okay. Nothing else matters now. You have nowhere to go and nothing to do. You're here to simply feel your body and listen. Don't worry or become agitated if you do not hear everything I say. It's natural to flow in and out of conscious hearing. The deepest part of you, your core self, is always listening. Whatever your experience today, this practice will still work. There is no way to do this wrong. Simply listen without trying too hard. Come into stillness now and remain still for deep rest, deep nourishment. Feel your natural breath. Feel your breath flowing through you. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Notice the rise and fall of the chest and belly as you breathe. When you inhale, say to yourself the number 10. When you exhale, say to yourself the number 10. Inhale, 9. Exhale, 9. Continue to count backwards on your breath until you reach the number 0. Allow yourself to go deep inside now. Deep inside to notice your heart's longing. What does your heart desire? Create a sankalpa, an intention, an affirmation based on your heart's longing. Something that you can accomplish in the next 6 to 18 months. Create this as a positive statement in the present tense, as though it's already happening. For example, rather than I will be relaxed or I will not be stressed out, state with feeling something like I flow through life with ease and peace. I am relaxed. Come up with your own intention. your own Sankalpa. State it 3 times as though it is already happening. Now let your consciousness move through your body as I guide you. I'm going to mention a body part. When I say that part of the body, allow yourself to feel a deep sense of relaxation. Feel each body part and then move on to the next when I guide you. Bring your awareness to your right thumb. Deeply relax your right thumb. Relax your right index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and small finger. Relax the palm of your right hand, right wrist, elbow, your shoulder and chest. Relax the right side body, hip and groin, right thigh and knee. Relax your right ankle, the sole of the foot, and the top of the foot. Right big toe, little toe, third toe, fourth toe, and small toe. Bring your awareness to your left thumb and deeply relax your left thumb. Left index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and small finger. Palm of the left hand, left wrist, left elbow, shoulder, left chest, left side body, hip, groin, left knee, ankle, left heel, and the sole of the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and small toe. Relax the whole left side of your body. Relax the whole right side of the body. Relax the belly and the chest. Relax the neck and throat and the back of the skull. Relax the top of the skull and the forehead. Smooth the forehead. Let your breath rest in that space between your eyebrows. Now imagine your body becoming heavy, very heavy, and sinking into the earth. Your bones are heavy, your limbs are heavy, your head and your torso are heavy. Your body is heavy and sinking. Now imagine your body becoming light, light as a feather, like a bubble floating upward, buoyant, like a cloud floating in the clear blue sky. Now feel heaviness again. And now feel light. Go between the two feelings on your own. Feel both heaviness and lightness at the same time. Now imagine a blank screen in front of your eyes at the forehead, like a movie screen. As you gaze at the screen, you may see colors, lights, patterns, images. These images are the reflections of the subconscious on the screen of your mind. Observe with a sense of relaxation. Allow the images to shift, dissolve, and change. Again, become aware of your breath. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. Be aware of the soles of your feet. Inhale from the base of the feet to the crown of the head. Exhale from the crown of the head to the soles of your feet. Continue to inhale from the base of the feet to the crown of the head, and to exhale from the crown of the head to the soles of the feet. Now be aware of that space between the eyebrows and rest your breath at the eyebrow center. Rest your breath at your throat center. Rest the breath at the heart center. This is the center of your emotional well-being. Allow your breath to bring healing energy into your body and into your mind. Remember now your sankalpa, your intention, the positive statement you set at the beginning. Say it to yourself now as though it is already happening in the present. Inhale it into your body and let it fill every cell. Inhale it again and again. Begin to deepen your breath. Become aware of the space around you. Notice the quiet calmness of that space. Touch the tips of your thumbs to the tips of your fingers, beginning to move slowly, gently, awakening sensation in the body. Gently move your toes, your arms, and your legs. Slowly roll to lie on one side. Slowly push up to sit, feeling your breath as divine light. The practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. It's the end of our practice for today. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm as close as your email.